Hello guys, welcome to Blue Pill Podcast. This is Abe, your host. Still no Lammy. I know, I need to get Lammy for my co-host or Mr. Bill. I need to find them. I don't know where the fuck they are. I gotta dig through my room. My room's a mess. I need to clean my room. I need to, what does Jordan Peterson say? Make your bed in the morning. Make your bed. First thing you need to do is make your bed. You know. And he always says, clean your room. Clean your room. I wish I could do Jordan Peterson's voice. So it's April 10th, 2025. I feel a little better. I talked to my buddy, Zach. He's got a channel too. He's a content creator. And just kind of, I had to vent to him, man. Vent to him about everything going on with my mother-in-law. Everything going on with the channel, my channel drama. So go check out last episode that I put out earlier today if you want to hear that. So I feel a lot better now that I just got... He let me rant his ear off for a little bit, you know, about 20, 30 minutes. And then we got to talking about just conspiracy theories in general. So that was fun. I feel better, so I'm in a happier mood, and I felt like, I got like, after this episode today, I got 2 more video game reviews, and then I'm going to jump back in to doing Conspiracy Corner podcast, conspiracy theories. So I got like 2 more reviews after this of video games that I want to do. I ain't gonna lie, I'm having fun with this. It's something different for me. I'm still getting that podcast fix, but I'm having fun because it's like, it's chill, you know. It's not Chicken Little, the sky's falling, conspiracies, you know. They're turning the freaking frogs gay. So it's a little break of like, just nerding out and talking about stuff that I enjoy that's non-conspiracy. So, let's get into the episode. Today, I'm going to review the Chronicles of Narnia for Game Boy Advanced. And it's going to be The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe too, by the way, because it does matter a little bit. So, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the first movie, live-action movie, to be made out of the series, because it's the most famous one. And I'm not sure, honestly, if, like, chronologically, as far as the storyline goes, it's the second book. And I'll have to double check and let me know in the comments if you guys know. The Magician's Nephew is the first book, actually. And Chronicles of Narnia is the second book. But Chronicles of Narnia might have been written before Magician's Nephew. So let me know in the comments. And they did. I know that they made the movies not really out of order, but like I know the third book, if I'm not mistaken, is called The Horse and His Boy, or The Boy and His Horse. Oh my god. The Boy and His Horse. The Horse and His Boy. Yeah, a horse riding a boy. Oh god, that sounds horrible. Cut that. But A Boy and His Horse is the third one, I believe, and they completely skipped over that, which I'm completely fine with because I read The Boy and His Horse, and for one, it was super confusing as a kid reading it. 2, it was super fucking boring. It was horrible. Like, if I ever reread the series again, because I've only read it all the way through once, the whole series, if I ever reread it, I'm skipping over that. I'm not gonna lie. A Boy and His Horse fucking sucks. It's like a ripoff of like Arabian Nights, basically. Yeah, it just sucks. But they even made the movies out of order because they started with Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then they skipped over A Boy and His Horse, and they went to, I think, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I think they made 3 movies. I could be wrong. I know for a fact they made Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which I still have yet to see. That one was really good. And they made Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. So this game came out after the movie. So it's based off the movie, like the little dialogue between characters. It has images of the actual actors and actresses. The movie was super accurate to the book. And hang on just a second, I got a wish. So the movie is accurate to the book, and honestly the video game for the most part is super accurate to both the book and the movie. Now there is a couple parts that are not accurate to the book or the movie, but I mean it's so few that it's not a big issue. It's stuff that's non-canon, you know. And honestly, when you make something that's based off of a book or like a movie, you have to add, with video games specifically, you have to add extra little stuff to keep the game a game. I kind of spoke about this on my last game review 2 episodes ago. Basically, the series of unfortunate events one on how you kind of have to do that with a video game, is add extra stuff, with like the Harry Potter review that I did, the series of unfortunate events, to keep it a video game, you know. But let me kind of tell you how I got into Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe real quick. So I know I've kind of brought this up past several episodes, well, specifically the game reviews of like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. My dad was a preacher. I grew up in a very strict Christian household, so when I first came across Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I found it at my school. I was going to, it was Hudson Middle School down in Florida. I was going to Hudson Middle, or at least yeah, it was Hudson Middle. Yep. I was going to Hudson Middle at the time. And no, it wasn't. It was after I moved from Hudson to Weeki Wachee Spring Hill. So yeah, I was going to their middle school. Never mind. And I found it in the hallway, and it was just sitting there. So I took it home, a free book. And it was like very short. It was pretty cool. I was like, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I love fantasy, you know. And I remember having to sneak this book into the house and reading it in secret. Luckily, it was a very small book, kind of like a pocket version, so I could like put it in my pocket, you know. But I would only read it at school on free time, or if I was reading it at the house, we had woods in our backyard in Spring Hill. It felt very witchy, you know. I'd go out to the woods and read this like forbidden tome, you know. But what kind of helped was my mom and my dad were kind of they were already kind of into Lord of the Rings, and we knew that J.R.R. Tolkien was a Christian. I didn't know at the time, but c.s.Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were super tight. They were like really tight friends, and there's actually like a whole secret little writing group that they had going on. I think the author of A Wrinkle in Time was part of it. C.S. Lewis was part of it. J.R.R. Tolkien. It's what the Green Dragon Inn is based off of in Lord of the Rings. It's based off of their little writing group. They would all meet up at a bar, and some would tea-toke, and others would have a couple beers, and they'd sit there and exchange ideas and be like, hey, this is what I'm writing right now, you know. And I cannot remember the story, if it was C.S. Lewis who converted Tolkien to Christianity, or if it was Tolkien who converted C.S. Lewis to Christianity. So one of them was Protestant, the other one was Catholic. I do know that. Hit me up in the comments if you know who converted who. But when we found out that story, and at the time, Golden Compass was coming out, and it was kind of like a rip-off of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it was actually, I've heard, I don't know if this is Christian conspiracy or Christian propaganda, but I've heard that the author of Golden Compass wrote it as kind of a fuck you to Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, because apparently, I've never read it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently from what I've heard, the Golden Compass is kind of like a fantasy story, and at the end of the story, the main character, a little girl, like kills God. Apparently the author was an atheist and hated Christianity and organized religion. I'm going to read it one day just to read it and probably play the video game of Golden Compass, so let me know. But knowing this information, that C.S.Lewis was a Christian, and that Aslan, spoiler alert, Aslan is Jesus. He's he's symbolism for Jesus when he dies on the stone table. Spoiler alert. It's Jesus dying, and then he rises again from the grave. Like, it's the whole story of Jesus. Aslan is Jesus. And my mom would take me every now and then to like Christian bookstores because we had a church at the time. I'm a preacher's kid, and I would see Chronicles of Narnia. So telling this to my father, I didn't have to hide the book anymore. And he dug it. He got into it, you know. He got into Lord of the Rings, and he got into Chronicles of Narnia. So I got like two different forms of fantasy, which is my favorite genre in our household. We still, though, they never budged on Harry Potter, dude. I had to wait till I was an adult for that. So that was kind of my introduction to Chronicles of Narnia. And there was a girl who my parents were trying to hook me up. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. They were trying to hook me up with her. She ended up becoming my stepsister, which is crazy. That's a whole, I'm going to have to tell that. I'll do a whole episode on that. That whole shit is crazy. But she, for my birthday, bought me the entire series in one volume, and it was awesome. It was a great gift. She was a cool person. She still is. So I started reading the whole collection. I had Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, started with that, and I read the whole series. So that was my introduction to Chronicles of Narnia. So let's get into more of like the actual game itself, you know. First of all, it's a hack and slash action adventure. I do feel like I compare it a lot to, honestly, Lord of the Rings for Game Boy Advanced. And it's kind of ironic how small of a world it is, and how the video games of the two authors who were friends and their books were very similar in their own right, how their games are almost similar too. And I feel like, honestly, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you're usually a Narnia fan, and vice versa. You know, it's cool. So it's an action adventure / hack and slash, because there are parts where you get hoarded. One thing that I liked about this Chronicles of Narnia compared to Return of the King, which I'm going to do a review on one of these days. I'm still in the process of playing it. It's a long fucking game. So I'm going to do a full-blown review on Return of the King, but with Return of the King, that's something that's frustrating me, is you'll have a partner, and it only does it with certain sections or certain levels. They'll have your partners just run off and abandon you. Like, for good. And then make you fight solo. And then sometimes they're with you and helping you. With this game, I didn't have that issue. Now, obviously, the first couple levels are strictly Lucy, because it goes along with the story, and she finds the wardrobe and goes to Narnia by herself. So first couple levels, there are solo levels every now and then. You're not going to have a party all the time. But for the most part, you have a party, a group of people. And every now and then, according to story, you'll split in pairs. But it's a hack and slash with a party of 4. So it definitely was better than Lord of the Rings, at least the Game Boy Advanced ones, when it came to that. Like, you have a party. They don't just abandon you. Now, do they actually control correctly? No. It's decent. It's okay. It's manageable. But, and they do give you certain settings too to counteract this. But like here, let me give you an example. Like, you'll be fighting and getting your ass kicked by like 3 or 4 like dwarves or trolls or something. Some form of mythical creature. Some fae, you know. And here I am, poor Lucy, just dying over here. And 2 of my brothers and sisters are just like wandering away and just running in circles. And to counteract that, they actually did make an option in the game, which is good, because they seen that it was like, hey, we didn't design this the best, so let's at least put in like a little bit of a fix. And they make a I can't remember what it is, but some form of button you have to push, some command to like call them over, and it kind of like resets them to where they come back to you. And that was pretty cool. So they did fix it. It is fixable. Most of the time I just let them do their thing. But it's action adventure. It's not as much hack and slash as like the Lord of the Rings series. Like, you're not getting swarmed every 2 seconds. Lord of the Rings one is more Diablo-esque, which I've still never played Diablo, so I'm not sure how Diablo is, but it's just from what I've heard. So here's one thing that you might find it frustrating, but I actually did not find it frustrating. It reminded me a lot of Crystal Chronicles for GameCube. It was a Final Fantasy game. And I actually liked Crystal Chronicles. And if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. So in Crystal Chronicles, whether you play on 1-player mode or multiplayer, you have your party, which if you play solo in Crystal Chronicles, you don't have a party. You have a Moogle, which is like a little flying bunny rabbit with bat wings. And pretty much, to keep it short, because I'm not reviewing that game, I'm talking about this game, but it reminds me of this. You're in this continent. I can't remember which world it is, because every Final Fantasy is a different world for the most part, unless it's like a direct sequel. You're in this world, and this world is like poisoned by this thing called miasma. It's a poison fog. And you have to carry around this enchanted crystal, and the Moogle follows you, and it puts around this ring, this barrier of protection against the miasma. And you'll get sick and die if you go outside that barrier. And it kind of reminded me of that, because when you go into the wardrobe, gets into the storyline, basically the Ice Queen, the White Witch, who is basically symbolism for Lucifer, Satan, the Antichrist. See, even on a Blue Pill podcast, you all are still getting conspiracy. It's a Purple Pill podcast. But she froze Narnia. So it's in this ice age, basically. She rules all of Narnia because Aslan is gone. And you come through with just whatever clothing you could find in the wardrobe. So you have a cold meter. And like I said, I didn't have an issue with it. But basically, when you travel too long, they have checkpoint little... They're kind of like checkpoints, which you can save in the game. I'm not sure if it saves in the actual spot you're in. Yeah, I think it does. It does save in the spot you're in. Or at least it's kind of like Zelda. Wherever you save, the last walkway that you went through is where you'll start back over. So keep that in mind if you're playing. A little hint for you. But you have a cold meter. So there's fires, random fires by the witch's fae folk that she controls, those who work for the witch. And once you defeat them, you can go and cozy up next to the fire, and it replenishes your cold meter. And other ways of replenishing your cold meter is, if you know the family, I forget their last name now, but if you know the main characters, their family is English. So, like, to replenish your health and your cold meter, there's certain items like warm toast and tea, you know, to replenish your cold meter. Tea, hot cocoa, stuff like that. So, and like I said, I think there was only like 1 or 2 times when I started getting a little nervous because my cold meter was dropping super low and I didn't have any items and I was looking for a fire, but it wasn't like, it happened like once or twice for just a couple seconds, and usually a fire was around the corner or an item. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't frustrating. It didn't really affect the game. It didn't piss me off too much. So don't worry about it. If you see a cold meter, don't just turn the game off and be like, oh, fuck this, you know? Because I get it. Like, there's one game that I cannot stand, and for some reason it's one of the most famous Zelda games, is Majora's Mask. I hate that game. And you guys know me, I don't use the H word much, but I believe I could use it on an inanimate object without too much karmic backlash. I hate that game. That game fucking blows. You get three days to beat the game, and you're on a time limit. The whole time I feel stressed. I feel like my hair is getting grayer and it's falling out. For me, when I play a video game, I play it to escape reality. I play it to feel good. I'm not the type of dude who throws the controller at the TV and breaks shit. Like, I've already learned, especially in my household, if my parents seen you get mad over a video game, they would either ground you from that game or tell you, turn it off, you're not playing no more for the rest of the day. They didn't put up with that shit, because the whole point of a video game is to get enjoyment and joy out of it. And if it's pissing you off that much, like, why are you even playing? So I understand, like, time limits and Majora's Mask and that type of stuff stresses me out. But this game it's not stressful, dude. It's chill. It's designed probably mostly for children, but adults can enjoy it too. Now, here is one thing, dude, that I'm going to gush about this game a little bit. So, the graphics are limited for the Game Boy Advance, which I don't mind that. I'm a retro gamer. I don't mind sprites and little people, and I actually kind of like it. It's kind of cute, you know, to have like a little sprite fighting a huge goblin or something. It's just cute. I don't know. Dude, the music for a Game Boy Advance cartridge, it's amazing. It reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Well, for one, the cute little people. On Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, they used to like march in place. It's so cute. But Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, just like this game, and it shows you, just because it's Game Boy Advanced, like, don't expect like Nintendo 8-bit music, like bit music. They have a full-blown orchestra, and listen to this. This is even crazier. They have literally a full-blown orchestra, and you can hear the instruments playing the music for this game. They also have a fucking choir of women singing, like, oh, like angelic music. I wish I had my Game Boy so I could show you. And it starts off like that. Like, it's the main starting menu, and like, when you click and start playing the game, it's playing the music. It is beautiful, dude. As soon as I turned it on to play the game, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to love this game. I already know just from the music. They put love and care into this game, and you can tell, dude. With the graphics are beautiful. The world is beautiful, like as far as the environments, the colors, the I was playing it in the dead of winter while I was unemployed. So I was I was snowed in anyway, so even if I had a job, I couldn't get out to work. We had a bad winter last year. But it was the perfect time to play. So if you're looking for a time to play this game, and if you can wait, or if you can, if you got a whole list of games you want to play, save this one for winter on snow days and shit. It is the perfect time to play this game because of the whole White Witch. Like I said earlier, Narnia at this period of time is snowy. But the music, oh my god, the music is beautiful. It's this and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, because they used an actual orchestra with flutes and brass instruments and drums, and this game and Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced are a tie as far as the best soundtracks ever for Game Boy Advance games. So yeah, no more gushing on that part. So since I just gushed on the soundtrack and the visual parts of it, and the graphics and scenery and stuff, and the atmosphere of the game overall, I'm going to shit on the game a little bit. I shit on it a little bit earlier as far as like your characters kind of being dumb AI, Fuck AI. No, I'm just kidding, AI. Please don't enslave me. So one thing that sucks, dude, and I understand why they did it, because technically it was accurate to the book and the movie, is you have weapons before this point in the game. You do have weapons. You have, sadly, your long-range weapon. Certain characters throw rocks or snowballs, and other characters, they carry sticks, and you're fighting creatures with sticks. Now, there is a point in the storyline, it's in the book and the movie, where you meet Father Christmas, Santa Claus. And he gives the two boys, he gives them both swords and armor and shields. And he gives, I think her name is Helen, the older sister. I could be wrong. I think he gives her, I know he gives her a bow and arrow. So she's the archer of the group. The two boys would be, if we're talking RPG, they would be the knights, warrior class. And in Lucy, sadly, even in the book, I was like, oh, poor Lucy, where she's the baby, she gets a horn. That's her. She doesn't get a weapon. She gets a horn. I do actually think, though, they might, in the book, have given her a dagger. She might have a dagger. I can't remember. I could be wrong, but they might have gave her a dagger. And I don't think in the game you get to use the dagger. I think you have to just throw stones still, sadly. And what bummed me out was, once I got these items, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, the game's gonna change. Nope. Not yet. You don't get to use the swords and shields and armor and bows and arrow until you get to the Aslan camp. That's when there's a whole training level where that was kind of fun. You get to actually, Aslan, grants you with this, these items and shit, and he's like, now go out and train because we're gonna have a battle. So it's kind of cool, but sadly it's almost towards the end of the game. It's literally last couple levels of the game is when you're fully equipped, and it really truly feels like a action RPG / hack and slash / dungeon crawler, but save the best for last. But right then, I feel like the game is getting good, and like I said, I understand because of the story. I understand because they didn't want to go off script, and I get it. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they kept it canonical. But yeah, dude, it sucks because it's short and sweet, man. Right when the game is getting super good, it's that's it. The game's over, story's over, And they do have sequels. They're for other platforms, which kind of blows because I'm trying to play only Game Boy Advanced, only Game Boy Color, and only Game Boy right now. As weird as it sounds, I'm going through those libraries. I don't know why. It's just something that I'm enjoying right now. It's kind of like a little experiment I'm doing for myself. I'm not really playing anything new school. The only thing I'm playing is Once in a Blue Moon. I'll play Grand Theft Auto 5 because I've never played it, and I found it super cheap the other day. But as far as my review, I'm going to end it here. I will give it... Let's see what I scored on here. And I might actually change it. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to keep with it. I'm going to give it... Because even the stuff that I complained about, it really wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't that bad of a thing to complain about. I don't know, though. There's a part of me that wants to be like... what's his name from Barstool Sports, where he kind of never gives anything a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I can't do it because if I rate something too high and I find something a billion times more amazing, it's just gonna fuck up the scale. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because it does have its flaws, but man, it is so close. It's almost like a 9.5. Can we do 0.5s? You all let me know in the comments. Can we do 0.5s? I think it's a 9 out of 10. 9.5. Somewhere around there. If we're allowed to do 0.5s. We need to set up an actual rule. But 9 out of 10. It's almost a perfect game. But I love you all. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers. So I'm at 408. I was at 409. I pissed someone off. They dropped out. So please like, share, and subscribe. And if you like video games, stay tuned. I got a couple more podcasts. I'm going to do reviews on video games. But yeah, stay tuned. I love you all. Have a good day.